Hi everyone, welcome to our volunteer orientation video. We are so grateful for each one of you tuning in today. Formerly, we were able to do this in person, but due to everything that's happened in the last year, we're moving to a more digital friendly platform to allow you guys to get started from home. So we're going to jump right in. Thank you so much again for joining us today. We want to introduce you to a few of our families this morning. So here we have Hope and her two sweet babies. We have another sweet baby girl who came through our program there in the middle. Her name is Brandy. And then we also have Maria and one of her two sons there, pictures on the right. We want you guys to know that these photos are real people, real families that we serve here at the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission. These are families that you have an opportunity to influence and help and serve through your involvement with us. So we're going to jump in first. I want to briefly just kind of fill everyone in, fill you in on what the homelessness crisis looks like 2020 and 2021. So these numbers are pulled from the LA Housing Authority website. These are from 2020. They did not do a homeless count in 2021 due to the pandemic. So these are rough numbers from about a year ago. So just keep that in mind. So right now in LA County, we're looking at 63,700 individuals experiencing homelessness. And 9,000 are in Service Planning Area 2, which incorporates the San Fernando Valley as well as the Santa Clarita Valley, all the way to the edge of Burbank. So it's a fairly large area of LA County. However, 9,000 just concentrated in that area. These numbers have likely gone up due to the pandemic. We don't, unfortunately, have updated numbers for you, but we wanted to share what we know in terms of the statistics. Also, over 70% of those 63,700 are unsheltered. That means that they aren't in a transitional living facility. They're not in hotels. They are physically sleeping on the street, possibly getting into an overnight shelter here and again, but when this count was done, they were physically sleeping out on the street in encampments and that type of thing as well. 1/3 are estimated to be families with young children. This particular statistic will not match what you see on the LAHSA website, and that's because a lot of the families with minor children who are experiencing homelessness are staying with other individuals, friends, family members, kind of couch hopping around, sleeping in their car. So these individuals, a lot of them are not counted when they do the homeless count because they're invisible to the community. So I want to jump into a couple of common causes. Why do we see these kinds of numbers? What causes homelessness? But I want to start by prefacing it as there are so many causes and unique situations of poverty and homelessness. This small list does not incorporate everything, but it's just the things that we experience here with our families and guests. They're common themes that we see. So obviously you all live in the LA area, so you understand that lack of affordable housing is definitely a major player in the cause of homelessness. Rent rates are just astronomically incredibly high, and with our income levels still being low and many of these people working within a poverty level, even if they are working, it's not affordable for them to live. We have a lack of permanent supportive housing, so there is definitely a large portion of individuals struggling with severe mental health issues that need permanent supportive housing, which is housing where there are on-site services such as mental health, case management, and other services. And there's not very much of that available to them. Something that we see a lot in our program, domestic violence. About 80 to 90% of the women who come through our program here have experienced domestic violence in their life at some point, typically within the last 5 years. Job loss. Obviously, this last year is going to be a huge contributor to those who are going to enter into homelessness for the first time. I already mentioned mental health, but physical health is also a huge reason. We have seen people become homeless because of physical illness, medical bills, disability, that kind of thing as well. And then one thing that is very common is something we call relational breakdown. Now, relational breakdown is kind of what separates those of us that fall on hard times financially and have a support system, family members, friends who are able to kind of walk us through that rough time. But when relational breakdown happens, when those relationships aren't healthy or they aren't present, those individuals that hit the same type of challenges that we might have hit in our own lives, they don't have that support system in place to be able to walk them through it. They immediately find themselves in crisis. So I understand that these facts are very overwhelming. It's a lot of statistics. It's a lot of numbers. Just imagining how many people that is a little bit daunting. So what you're here to understand is, what can you do in your community, from your home, in an agency, but just in your day-to-day life. So the very first thing is actually not a tangible thing, but it's a way of changing our mentality and how we think about the homelessness crisis. So what I want you guys to take away from this video is, every story is unique. We can treat every person with dignity, love, care, and respect, regardless of where they come from, regardless of their situation, regardless of their choices. Every person deserves to be treated with dignity. So that's what I want you to kind of think about when you see individuals that are struggling. First, think about them as human beings who are worthy of love, regardless of the choices or situations that they're in. And if that's the only thing you take away from this video, then we have done our job for sure. These two photos here, just to briefly share, this individual on the left with the beard and the long hair was a attendee of our mobile shower program, which we'll talk briefly about in this video. He came to the showers for about a year every week without taking a shower, just came for the community and the gathering and the meals that are offered. And the gentleman on the right is a volunteer of that program. The volunteer got to know this gentleman, would ask him every week, would you like a shower? Would you like to, get a change of clothes, get a haircut? And this gentleman would politely decline. After about a year, this gentleman said yes. And this is the result of this picture, all in the same day after having a shower and a haircut. The transformation, obviously, even in how he carries himself is different. Everyone needs that opportunity to feel clean and not be looked at as somebody who is not worthy of anyone's time or love. And his haircut, as you can kind of see, is very similar to the volunteer, because that was his request. He said that he would get a haircut if it could look like his friend who he had become close to in the program. So just a really heartwarming story, but there are tons of stories similar to this one of people, when they took the time to get to know someone, to call them friend, to understand that there might be more to their situation that meets the eye. Transformation is possible. All right, moving on. So a couple of ways that you can help. Obviously, please take these into your own context and your own situation. I would never want anyone to enter into a dangerous situation or anything like that. But one thing you can do as you drive by, walk by individuals experiencing homelessness is just make eye contact. And what that really does is to just show them that you see them. You're not avoiding your eyes. You're not walking across the street, avoiding them. It's letting them know that you see them and that they are there, which I know can seem a little bit strange, but it really does make an impact on many of these individuals. Another thing you can do, especially if you feel odd approaching someone or passing by someone empty-handed, is create a hygiene kit. Take a Ziploc, throw in some really necessary small items, deodorant, sunscreen, water, snacks, shampoo, soap, lotion. We have a resource directory that we will give to you guys. You're welcome to distribute it. It has resources all over the Los Angeles area. Keeping some of those handy in your car, and when you see someone, just hand it to them out the window. Say, hey, I hope this helps. You know, wish I could do more, but here's a little something to help you along your way. That is a tangible way to assist someone, especially if you're not comfortable giving them, you know, money or approaching them, um, approaching an encampment or something like this. This is something you can do just when you're walking by or driving by someone that you notice is in need. Another way you can help is get involved in your neighborhood councils. Find out what the issues are. Find out what's going on in policy, if you have time for that. And then advocate when someone is trying to build a permanent supportive housing or a transitional housing or an affordable housing unit. Find out the details about what they're trying to do and advocate for it if you feel that they are going to put the appropriate services and security in place for that facility. Don't just assume that it will lower you know, property values, because that's actually not the case if it's done correctly. So just get involved, find out more, be an advocate. And lastly, what you're doing now. You are watching this video because you're interested in getting involved with the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission and serve the community. There's tons of other organizations that we would be happy to connect you with, whether you want to connect to more than one organization or if you were looking for something different. We are happy to connect you to another organization that may fit what you're looking for.
Welcome to the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission in Northridge, California. With the support of our community, we offer refuge, recovery, and restoration. We are a family shelter that houses men, women, children, and families. The Home Again Family Shelter includes a living room, a short-term shelter, private family sleeping quarters, a commercial kitchen, formal dining room, playground, and much more. Thank you for visiting the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission.
All right, so just wanted to share a little bit of what the inside of the facility looks like since you aren't able to be here as a group, kind of touring and that kind of thing. If you do become a volunteer, you will be able to tour the facility on your first day as a volunteer. And then eventually, hopefully, we'll be able to have community open houses available to the community as well. So switching gears a little bit over to our mission, specifically as the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission, moving away a little bit more from the broader picture. Our mission statement as an organization is, with the support of our community, we offer refuge, recovery, and restoration. So the key part of this is we cannot do this without our community. We are a privately funded organization. We choose to raise our funds through private means, not public government funding. And it allows us to really ensure that we're equipping our program to meet the needs of the community. We do that through refuge, through housing and meals, through recovery, through programming, through classes, workshops, financial restoration. And restoration meaning helping them build healthy relationships, how to re-engage in their community, and how to create a lifestyle that's going to be sustainable for their family in the future. So a little bit of history on the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission. So we are part of a parent organization called Rescue Mission Alliance, which is based out of Oxnard, California, and they actually have multiple different shelter sites throughout the Southern California region. When they decided to launch the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission, it started in 1998 as a mobile unit. It also included a network of churches that would assist individuals to get shelter and food for overnight. And then we also had a shower, mobile showers very early in the organization as well. So just a few short years into being in the San Fernando Valley, the organization decided to open up their first shelter. So you can see it there in the bottom. Definitely a small shelter, just starting out, and it was on the same property as a food bank and a thrift operation as well. So there was very limited space, but they did decide that serving in a tangible way, such as actually being able to provide those multiple nights of shelter, was very important to helping the community and the homeless population. So that went for several years, and in 2014, there was a fire that was started next door that caught this facility into flames and essentially destroyed the majority of the facility. They had already purchased another property here in the Northridge community. This was previously in North Hollywood. And all it did was allow them to say, okay, we will go ahead and rebuild that facility we have purchased, and we will open the brand new shelter just one short year later here in Northridge, which tripled their amount of capacity to serve with 90 beds versus 30, and a beautiful facility that the community really invested in and just made beautiful, comfortable, just dignifying, and made it feel like a home, a temporary home while families get back up on their feet. Just shortly, I guess it's almost 2 years ago now, we were also able to open a men's recovery program, which is a 10-month program for men experiencing life-controlling issues, and we'll talk more about that later in the video. That opened in the East Hollywood neighborhood after several properties were donated to us. We decided to go ahead and open that program as a way to utilize those properties to serve the East Hollywood community. All right, so we're going to jump right in. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but I wanted everyone to understand what our values are as a team and as an organization, because that's very important for our values and your values to align if you truly want to get behind the work that we're doing. So teamwork, collaboration, we want to strengthen, value, and develop relationships continually. And that's personally in between our staff and our guests. It's professionally with other agencies and the public community and donors, volunteers, everyone that we have relationship with. We want to work together because we can do more together than we can apart. So excellence, we're always striving to be leaders in excellence. We are always evaluating the effectiveness of our programs, constantly saying, are we doing the right thing? Should we change something? How can we do this better? It's really important to us as a team. Accountability, we believe in honesty, integrity, and responsibility to God, to our clients, and to the community. So everything we do, is it honest? Is it integral? Is it responsible? We will always take those things into account when going through an evaluation process or a decision. Management. We believe that time, talent, and resources are from God and are to be used for the maximum benefit and impact of the work that we do. So being good stewards of our finances, making sure that we are spending on things that are necessary to serve the families and the men in the men's program. And lastly, service. We're committed to serve, value, honor, and esteem others higher than ourselves, regardless of their status in life or the background from which they have come. You may have heard me mention that earlier when we were talking about how to help, how to show dignity to others. That comes from our service value, and it's so important for us to change the way that we view people before we can truly serve them out of hearts that really, truly care for others. We are a faith-based organization. However, we do not require that volunteers or guests or anyone getting involved in the work that we do to follow any particular faith. So please do not be intimidated by that in terms of thinking that you may not be welcome. You are absolutely welcome regardless of your background or your faith. So just briefly, our program impact, this is over the course of the last 5 years. 60% of our families are children under 18. That, of course, ebbs and flows, but for the most part, we're always outnumbered in terms of kids to adult ratio. 94% still report being in stable housing over 5 years after leaving our program, and those are up-to-date numbers as of December 2020. We hover right in that 94 to 95%, and that's very encouraging to us. Of course, we would love it to be 100%, but we know that 94% is a wonderful, wonderful number of those that have really recovered and stayed into housing. Over 65% have their name on a lease or mortgage. So what that means is they're no longer depending on family or friends or anyone. Their name is on the lease, or they have purchased a home. And that, again, very encouraging. We would love that number to be higher, but we know that that is a huge accomplishment for these families who have before been very unstable, bouncing from place to place. So that's very encouraging. All right, so now the reason that you guys are here is to learn more about our volunteering opportunities. So we're going to jump briefly into that as well. So first and foremost, all of these opportunities that I'm going to mention on this particular slide are in-house at the Northridge location on Canby Avenue, which is right located near the CSUN campus. So reception opportunities. Reception is for individuals that want to volunteer in an administrative capacity. They love to answer phones. They love to talk to people. They like to send emails. They like spreadsheets. They like to connect people to resources. So if you're someone that likes to do that and has daytime hours available, that might be a great fit for you. Home again maintenance. If you're handy and you need a very flexible schedule, maybe you have a career in a field of construction, plumbing, painting, handyman work, anything like that, or you're just handy in your own home. We always need things fixed, like doorknobs and cabinets breaking and that kind of thing. We always have opportunities for those types of fix-it projects, and it's incredibly flexible based on your schedule because we are open 24 hours a day. So it's highly flexible schedule as well, and a great way to give back using your skills. Thirdly, we have volunteer shelter staff. So we have opportunities that is specifically based on assisting the shelter staff that run the day-to-day. So a volunteer shelter staff is going to essentially be an assistant to those staff. It includes everything from helping with childcare, helping with meetings, helping with meals, helping with cleaning and organizing. This is ideal for someone who is highly flexible and doesn't mind just doing anything that is asked of them in terms of assisting around the shelter. So kids activities. Kids activities is a flexible opportunity. It definitely involves a variety of different opportunities, which we will discuss on the next slide, but as you can imagine, directly working with young children. So that's kids activities. Kitchen service. Kitchen service is directly working in the kitchen alongside our staff, and we have another slide. We'll discuss more about that as well. But if you're someone who's interested in cooking, learning how to cook, likes working with food and serving other people in that way, that would be a great opportunity for you as well. So kids activities, as I mentioned, we're going to go slightly deeper into that. The purpose of these volunteer opportunities really is to introduce positive influences into the lives of these kids. As I mentioned, they're likely to not have a lot of strong family bonds, relationships that are healthy. And so it's a good way for us to insert new and mentorship opportunities, positive influence for the lives of these kids. The opportunities vary depending on our schedule. So I can't guarantee that something particular will be available at the time that your interest is, but occasionally we have tutoring opportunities. We have activities where we do different games and outdoor time, story time, so if you'd like to read to children. And then lastly, just general childcare when parents are in classes or meetings as well, which could also incorporate those other activities as well. Working in the kitchen, a couple of different opportunities in that avenue. So kitchen service is specifically working in a 2 to 2.5 hour shift in the evening during our dinner service. So prepping and serving meals alongside our team. Schedules are available all week, Sunday to Saturday, 4:30 or 5. If you have a work schedule that doesn't quite fit that, we are flexible to work with you. 4:30 to 7. And then if you are looking to volunteer as a group, or if you are maybe a husband and wife, or you have a gal pal or something like that, and you guys feel comfortable to be able to prepare a home meal on your own, this is for you. You can do one of two things. You can donate a restaurant meal or frozen or fresh ingredients for based on our needs here at the rescue mission. The second opportunity is to volunteer and actually prepare the meal, provide, prepare, and serve as a group, or even just friends or family members. It really depends on your cooking ability to cook for a crowd, how many people you need. Right now, due to social distancing and that kind of thing, we aren't allowing more than 5 individuals in the kitchen at a time. So there is a limit right now, so that we can ensure social distancing. Obviously, in these photos here, this was pre-pandemic. We didn't have to worry so much about that. Things definitely have changed in terms of that. All right, I'm going to show you a brief video of our mobile shower program so that you can get an idea of another avenue that our program takes. It is separate from our family shelter. There aren't a ton of volunteering opportunities available, but they do occasionally pop up. So if this is something where you feel very interested in, that is potentially an option for you as well. Awesome. So, what you saw there was people helping each other. There are medical units that come out. There's food served at each site. There is haircuts at some sites. There is just a sense of community belonging that a lot of these folks need. And then an opportunity to get to know them and possibly help them move towards some future sustainability. So right now, the biggest opportunity is we have a couple of days, maybe one day that's still open, that we're looking for a church or a site that would be willing to partner with us for a homeless outreach where the mobile shower truck would come. We can connect you to our outreach coordinator if you have an interest in that. Right now, the locations are Woodland Hills, Winnetka, North Hollywood, Chatsworth, and East Hollywood. So if you have a church or an agency somewhere in that area that might be interested in partnering, that's in maybe another area that isn't being reached, please let us know. So the basis of this program is when you meet the basic need of somebody over a consistent amount of time, it can build relationship and trust. And once that trust and relationship is built, it really allows you to speak into that person's life. And that might be, hey, have you thought about, where are you at with housing? Let's help get you off the street. Do you need a recovery program? How can we help? And so with individuals on the street, but I think just with all of us in general, for someone to speak into our lives, we need to build trust and relationship time. So I mentioned this briefly in the beginning. We're going to try and wrap up here in the next few minutes, but I'm going to briefly touch on the Men's Recovery Program, which, as we mentioned, opened in 2019. It is a 10-month addiction recovery program where we can house approximately 8 men. Someday the hope is to expand to a 30-bed program. It's currently in East Hollywood. There is a transitional living post-graduation program that men, if they graduate, can apply for. That is up to 2 years in one of the other donated properties that I formerly mentioned. And it allows them to get back to work while still having housing for free as they work towards re-engaging. This program also partners with the jail system, with the jail chaplain, and so we have many that are coming out of incarceration. It really helps them to have an immediate place, which is typically a requirement of their release, and allows them to start to work on some of those life-controlling issues that they have. They focus highly on relapse prevention and work therapy. Relapse prevention is so important because I think many of us know individuals who've tried to get clean and have relapsed continuously. So they spend a significant amount of time focusing on relapse prevention, and they use work therapy as a form of a way to help them work through the issues that they struggle with as well. So another way to help, this can actually even count towards volunteering. I know we have several folks that come and volunteer because they have school hours that they need to log. If you have a child that needs school hours, needs to do something remotely, you're not ready to serve on site because of the pandemic, you can host a donation drive. Collect clothing, collect housewares, or items from our needs list, which we will provide for you. Or during the holidays, we have special holiday drives, toy drives, Thanksgiving drives. Those are things that can count towards those hours, and we're happy to sign off on school hours if you'd prefer to do something off-site. You can also create hygiene kits, and we use those at our shower sites, so we go through many, many hygiene kits every day. So creating small hygiene kits and donating those are also another drive that can be done as a volunteer opportunity. We also get our needs list monthly, and we can sign you up for that if you are inclined to get those updates. Another way to support the organization is through our thrift stores. So we have 2 thrift stores in the San Fernando Valley that actually those profits directly support our programs through the men's and the family program. 100% of profits come back into the organization. So just shopping with us or donating your old goods is a huge way to support us, even as a donor. You can actually get your items picked up at your home if you're within the radius for pickup. And there's the phone number there for you as well, 1-800-417-5678. So if you would like to help in a tangible way that is also, again, a very remote way to help, but it really does help sustain our programs, especially since we are privately funded. So we are going to close out with one more shorter video. This is a direct client story of life change. Jessica and her son, their journey through homelessness.
I live in Woodland Hills in a beautiful mountain community in the hills in the San Fernando Valley. This house is amazing. It's a dream that I could never have even imagined for myself. August and I have a very quiet, private life, which we really hold sacred. August has an incredible personality. He's very personable.
So, my series is called The Adventures of Jerry. He can destroy anything. It's the time sword. It's an evil monster, the Bone Crusher. And so Jerry tried to destroy it.
And he's very creative and very loving and thoughtful. Can I, assist you with your event coming up in September? I run a full-service digital marketing agency. Do you need help? I do copywriting, copy editing. I handle manuscripts. I do ghostwriting.
Okay, so that's it. I don't want to take it.
The struggles that I face as a parent with August are related to his mental illness and my mental illness. With my mental illness and other issues that I have under that umbrella, I fall on my face sometimes. Before I became homeless, I had left corporate. I wasn't taking care of my mental health. I went off my meds. I had a nervous breakdown at work and was very quickly let go. And I didn't have any backup. I had no savings. I started taking out personal loans to live off of to go as long as I could possibly go. And then finally, homelessness came for me again. From the outside looking in, anybody that was looking at me saw someone successful. I masqueraded as a big success for a long time. I was really doing bad. I was in a really awful, rough place. I look at people who are homeless on the street and people that I've been in shelters with, and I think when they were kids, you don't grow up thinking that's going to happen to you. The San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission is a shelter for families experiencing homelessness that provides every tool and resource you can imagine to help lift families up, get kids into the right programs that they need to succeed academically and emotionally and personally. The San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission dramatically transformed my life. I had no work, I had no job. They took me from that to ended up with 3 part-time marketing admin jobs. The staff are just the most incredible human beings I've ever met. You can talk to them about anything, you can tell them anything. There's never judgment, there's never anything but love and concern and care and dignity. It kind of is frightening to think about where I would be without the rescue mission. I'd be messed up. I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have my child with me anymore. It's very possible, very possible.
He's a scientist that made these goggles that can hypnotize the minds of anyone. And I loved that they were nice and kind and loving, and so I made a lot of friends, and I think the rescue mission is a great place.
Well said. You are your mother's son. That's awesome.
and so I made a lot of friends, and I think the rescue mission is a great place.
Well said. You are your mother's son. That's awesome.
All right, thank you so much. So that was Jessica and August's story, and we have many, many other stories that you can follow. So please give us a follow on social media if you want to keep up with what we're doing. It's really a great way to support us is to follow and repost different things that we share as well. San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission or at SFV Rescue on Instagram. Excuse me, next steps are to fill out the response form. There's a link in the email that you received with this video. You're going to fill that out and request a specific role that you're interested in if you are interested in a specific role to move forward towards. The volunteer coordinator will initiate the next steps to become an approved volunteer. So there will be different things that will be required, a background check, possible interview, possible reference checks, depending on your interest. So we so appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching today. We hope to be able to meet you soon. Have a wonderful day.